So let's talk a little bit more about how you studied with your friends, because it's interesting, because I know a lot of people try to do it and find they end up chatting, gossiping, talking about anything else but school. It sounds like you did it quite effectively. So how did you sort of study in a group for business studies with your friends? And, were there sort of specific things that you did?
Well, firstly you have to make sure your friends are very motivated. You want to study with the right friends, and it kind of turns into a game after a while, because you're like, not only do you become like kind of a bit competitive, which is good, and you just together, I think you just accomplish so much more, because if you switch papers, you see what someone else has done and you're like, oh wow, that's like a really great technique to use, or oh, I forgot that point, or just sitting down with someone else keeps you motivated. Whereas if I sat down at home by myself, I'd be like, oh, maybe I'll just go on the computer or watch some TV. But when you have someone else there, it's harder to like procrastinate and be like, oh, I don't want to do this now.
Yeah, because they'll help you keep accountable, essentially.
If you together, you stay strong, stay motivated, stay in a room where there's no distractions, you'll just do it.
Alright, and how many people in a group would you usually study with? 1, 2 other people, so 3 in total?
3 was mostly effective. When it got to 4, it wasn't as effective. But when you stick with 3 or 2, I thought that was really, really
That was
helpful.
really good, yeah. And so when you were actually studying, so you've got, let's say, 2 friends. Would you teach each other the content? Would you quiz each other? What would you do?
Lots of quizzing, lots of like making little tests for each other. Because when you do it in that kind of environment, it's a bit more fun. You remember, like we made up little acronyms together, and you're like, oh yeah. And it's actually a lot funner, and that's not really correct, but a lot more interesting. And it's kind of one of my friends and I, we were really study buddies together through the HSC, because everyone was kind of dying out towards the end, but we really made an effort to say, let's go to the library today for 4 hours. We'll have a break in the middle, and we're just going to study. We can do this together. But if you're by yourself, it's just so difficult to stay motivated like that, because no one else is there going, come on, we can do it. But if you're just by yourself,
so no one's keeping you accountable, basically. Now, I know a lot of students look at the HSC, and because technically you're competing with your peers internally, they don't like that concept of working with someone else, because they're your competitor. You didn't find that, obviously. I mean, you did quite the opposite.
No, I didn't really think that. I think everyone, it definitely was competitive at school, and everyone was kind of like, oh, don't want to like tell everyone else like what I'm doing, but I find that if you're helpful to other people, people will be helpful to you, and in the end,
beneficial for both.
In the end, everyone will do well, and it's really important.